Hello my dear students, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Akash and once again I am with you to discuss a new poem from the book of class 9 Beehive, and the title of the poem is A Legend of Northland by Phoebe Cary. So students, before moving towards the text and explanation part of the poem, first we will discuss about the poet. Phoebe Cary, lifespan September 4, 1824, July 31st, 1871, was an American poetess and the younger sister of poetess Alice Cary, lifespan 1820 up to 1871. The sisters co-published poems in 1849 and then each went on to publish volumes of their own. After their deaths in 1871, joint anthologies of the sisters' unpublished poems were also compiled. So this is a short, precise introduction of Phoebe Cary. Now, introduction to the poem. A Legend of the Northland is a ballad, and first I'll tell you what is ballad. A ballad is a poem narrating a story in short stanzas. Ballad is such kind of poem which tells us a story in short stanzas in the poem, and all the stanzas comprises 4 lines. So in this story, like in this poem, there is a story, okay, and in total we can say that there are 16 stanzas in this poem, and these stanzas will tell us a story. Ballads are also known as the part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to the next. Folk culture is a story of any area, we can say, and is known as ballad. Like folk culture is a story that is known in an area, so it is known as ballad as well. And folk culture comprises of traditional stories which are passed on from one generation to the another one. Now this story means, in the poem there is a story. I told you that ballad is a narrative poetry, and it's a form of narrative poetry where a poem narrates a story. So in this poem, what is the story? This story is of the Northland area, the area which is near the North Pole. Yeah, the specific area is not mentioned, but it is mentioned here as Northland. This exact place is not specified, but Northland means the area in the northernmost part of the earth, that is near the North Pole. And legend, what is the meaning of legend? Legend means a historical story on which is very old, or we can say one which is very old or has been passed on from one generation to another. Now we will discuss the theme of the poem, and it is quite important to discuss the theme of the poem because the poem consists a crucial message in it. So the poem is a ballad, I told you, and it is based on the theme that greed is a grave sin. Yeah, to be greedy, it's a crime, it's a sin, and greedy people do not deserve the blessings and the comforts of human life. Human beings should thus acquire, because since greediness it should not be in humans, so human beings should acquire qualities of kindness, fellow feelings and empathy. These are the qualities should be acquired by the human being. And the little woman in this, like in the poem, there is a story of a little woman who was very greedy, and her greed stopped her from sharing even her smallest cake with hungry Saint Peter, thus earning his wrath. So that was the reason that she was cursed by the Saint Peter, by the saint. And then we will discuss the title of the poem as well. So the title of the poem clearly states that the poem is about a legend from the cold region of Northland. Like every legend, it is a story passed on from one generation to another, that I told you earlier, and believed to be true even though there is no evidence to establish its truth. But the poet wants to deliver a good and crucial message through the poem, and the title is appropriate as it introduces the narrative form of the story, which is to impart moral values. Okay, now we are moving towards or heading towards the text and explanation part of the poetry. So it is quite crucial to understand each and every word of the poem. So listen to it carefully. Now the first stanza is here. Away, away in the northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter, that they cannot sleep them through. So in the beginning line of the poetry, the poet says, in the region around the North Pole, in the area around the North Pole, the duration of the day is very less, because its position is such a way or in such a manner that the sun's rays reach there for a very less time. And when this area is experiencing winter season, when this area is experiencing winter season, the duration of night is very long and daytime hours are very less. And in the fourth line, that they cannot sleep them through means they refers to the people who live in this region. And the poet says that the duration of the night time is so long that the people cannot sleep them through. And if they go to bed, they take few hours sleep and then they wake up and then they see that it is still night. So he wants to emphasize on the fact that the duration of the night is very long, and thus the people of the northland area, they cannot able to sleep them through. Now the second stanza, where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear cubs in their funny furry clothes. So few word meanings are also here, some hard words. Sledges means a vehicle or on runners for conveying loads or passengers over snow or ice, often pulled by trot animals. To harness means to tie the reindeers. It's a kind of animal, and that is usually found in northern northland places. So to harness means to tie the reindeers with a rope to a sledge so that it can be used for transportation. Swift means something which runs really fast, means rapid, we can say. So through this stanza, the poet tells the further story, says that the northland region experiences severe cold conditions, and it is a snowy area as well. So when it snows, so the people of the area, the reindeer is an animal which is found in this polar region. So the people of this area tie reindeers to sledges, and then the reindeers pull the sledges. Okay, and he adds the children as well. He says that, and the children look like bears' cubs. So this line clarifies that the children look like young ones of a bear, because they wear funny looking clothes, or we can say that are made of fur, funny furry clothes. Okay, so it means that the children look like young ones of a bear because they wear funny looking clothes made of fur, which is like the furry skin of bear. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it is true. It is true means it is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Curious means strange. So here the poet says that they refers to the parents or elders, and them refers to their children or the younger generation. So here the poet says that the elders of the northland region tell a strange, interesting story to the younger generation, and the poet says that he doesn't think that the story is true. As he says, I don't believe it is true, means he says that he does not think that the story is true, but if he tells the story to the readers, maybe the reader could learn a lesson from it. So hence we can say the story gives an important message. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching just as he did, Saint Peter was Saint Peter, an apostle of Christ or a disciple or follower of Jesus Christ. Preaching means to give a religious talk to the people. So the story begins where the story begins once when the good Saint Peter. So story begins with Saint Peter. So Saint Peter, when Saint Peter used to live in the world and went around giving some religious talk or lectures to the people, just like all saints do. So then an incident happened. Okay, just as he did, means just other saints were doing. So he was doing the same kind of thing, and at that very moment one incident happened. He came to the door of a cottage in travelling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. So here the word hearth means a fireplace where you do cooking or baking. So when Saint Peter was moving around the world, giving religious lectures or talks to the people, he reached the door of a cottage where a small woman was making cakes. She was baking the cakes in the fireplace. Okay, and baking them on the hearth means she was baking the cakes in the fireplace. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. As Saint Peter hadn't eaten anything, faint means to be weak or famished. So as Saint Peter hadn't eaten anything the entire day, so he was quite hungry and feeling quite weak and famished. So he went to this woman who was baking cakes, and he asked for one cake out of the many cakes that she had baked. Now, so she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. The woman was selfish, and she didn't give the cake from her store. Instead, she started making a very small cake for Saint Peter, as she was greedy. So she didn't want to share her things, but when she put the cake for baking, and she looked at it and thought that this cake was too big to give away or to be given to Saint Peter, then what she did, therefore she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked when she turned it over as large as the first had done. Needed means to make the dough from flour. So what she did, the little miser woman, what she did, thought that the cake was too big to be given away, so she started making another smaller cake. Okay, then she needed the dough to make the dough from flour. Then after that, when she looked at the cake, she again felt that it was as big as the first one. When she turned it over, as large as the first had done. Then what she did, again she was not ready to give the cake to Saint Peter. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she couldn't part with that. Scrap means a small amount. So here the third time she took a very small amount of dough and rolled it flat. The poet says that she rolled and rolled the poet says she rolled and rolled means he just wants to lay emphasis on the fact that she rolled the dough and made it very thin like a wafer and baked it. But she was so greedy that she couldn't give that thin piece of bread to the saint. But she couldn't part with that, means she didn't give the thin piece of bread to the saint. Now, for she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away, so she put them on the shelf. The woman reasoned or thought in her mind When she ate the cakes by her own, she felt that they were very small. But if she had to give them to someone else, she felt that they were too big to be given away. And she put all the cakes on the shelf of her kitchen, and she didn't give any cake to Saint Peter, just because of her greed. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint. And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Provoke means cause to get angry. So Saint Peter became angry as he was very hungry and he was feeling quite weak. The selfish woman wasn't ready to give him even a small piece of cake or a small cake, and this behavior of that greedy lady or greedy woman angered the saint. Then what happens? And he said, who said? Saint, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. Dwell means to live. So here Saint Peter cursed the woman and said that she was very selfish and she didn't deserve to live like a human being, and he added that God had given her food and shelter, fire to keep warm, as she was a human being, but she had become selfish for all the resources that she had, and she didn't want to share them with anybody, and according to Saint Peter, she didn't deserve to be a human being anymore. Now, you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. Then scanty means a very little, boring means make a hole in something with a tool or by digging. Okay, so Saint Peter cursed the woman again, and what he said, he just cursed the woman that hence she would become a bird. And what was the name of the word of that bird? Woodpecker. Yeah, she would become a bird because she didn't deserve the human form, and she shall become a bird, and just like birds build their houses, says na, and shall get you scanty food. You shall build as the birds do means she shall become a bird, and just like birds build their houses by boring into the wood and collect very scanty food means little food by working hard the entire day. Similarly, that woman would also work hard in dry wood and all day to get little food and make a small place for herself to live in by working too hard. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. As soon as Saint Peter cursed the woman, she didn't get a chance to speak for herself, because that very moment she flew up to the roof through the chimney and flew out in the form of a bird. And what was the name of the bird? I am just going to repeat once again, a woodpecker. Okay, woodpecker was the name of the bird. Okay, so Saint Peter cursed her and changed her or transformed her from human to a bird, that is woodpecker. Saint Peter's curse had converted a woman into a bird. Now, she had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burnt black as coal in the flame. So scarlet means brilliant red color, or we can say fiery red color. So as soon as Saint Peter cursed the woman, okay, she transformed into a bird, and when the woman turned into a bird, at that time she was wearing a red colored cap on her head. When she was a woman, she was wearing a red colored cap on her head, and this cap was there on the bird's head also. Okay, that is referred to the scarlet cap, means red, brilliant red color cap, that is usually on the top of the bird, that is woodpecker. So this cap was there on the bird's head also, and but the woman's remaining clothes, okay, despite of hat, all the clothes, okay, all the clothes were burned and turned black in color, just like coal, black as coal in the flame. Okay, now the last conclusive stanza. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring for food. People who live in the countryside, country means belonging to the countryside, or that is the rural area or village we can say. So people who live in the countryside, even the small children who go to school, have seen this kind of bird in the woods many a times, and they see that she stays there all day and keeps on digging the wood with her beak to collect her food. Whenever any child sees this kind of bird, then his elders tell him the story that they say that the bird used to be a woman earlier, and she was very greedy, and so she was cursed by Saint Peter and turned into a bird. Okay, so this is the story, and they get a teaching that they should not be greedy. So that's all about the poem. Now we will discuss the rhyme scheme of the poem, and the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. Since the poem is a ballad and it consists 16 stanzas, and in each stanza consists 4 lines. Okay, and the rhyme scheme of each stanza is A, B, C, B. Now some literary devices in the poem. First one is personification. Personification means when human being qualities are given to non-living things or abstract ideas or some kind of animals as well. So in this sentence you can see where she lives in the area, in the trees. So here that bird has been attributed the quality of human being. So that's why it's an example of personification. Now alliteration. It's a repetition of a consonant sound in 2 or more close words, or we can say alliteration is a repetition of initial consonant sound. So you can see in the stanza 1 that, they, them, through. So TS sound is repeating. Stanza 2 they, the, TS sound is repeating again. Look like, L sound is repeating, and funny, furry, F sound is repeating. Now repetition. Repetition, like it's a repetition, any word or sentence in repeated to lay emphasis on, means where a word or a sentence or phrase repeated. And what was the purpose? What is the purpose? The purpose is to lay emphasis on it. Like away, away in northern land, na? So the away word is repeated. Rolled and rolled, that word is also repeated. Boring, boring word is repeated. Okay, in the stanza 13 and 16. Now enjambment. Enjambment means without any punctuation, when we carry one line to another, like running lines of poetry from one to the next without using any kind of punctuation to indicate a stop. In the stanza 1, line 3 and 4 means after line 3 there is no punctuation mark, and the poet starts with the 4th line. Okay, similarly in stanza number 2 with line 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and stanza 3 line 3 and 4. Now the last example of simile. Comparison of two different things, okay, having one thing in common, and with the use of words of comparison like as or like. So in stanza 2, the children look like bear's cubs. So children are being compared to bear's cubs. Stanza 9, baked it thin as a wafer. So cake is compared to a wafer. Stanza 15, clothes were burnt black as a coal. So the color of the burnt clothes is compared to that of coal. Now some multiple choice questions for you. So just go through it and try to guess the answer. What message does this poem convey? I repeat the question, what message does this poem convey? First one, be greedy. Then don't help the poor. Don't be greedy and help the poor and hungry people. Yeah, this one is right. No need to read the another one. Now the second question, what made Saint Peter angry with the woman? Her cakes, she made a thin cake for him, her greedy action. So this is right. You can see the red colored answers are right. Now, which word did the saint's curse change the woman into? So, a woodpecker. This one is right. Quote example of alliteration used in the poem. Just go through the examples. Tell the tales means T sound is repeating. Faint with fasting, F sound is repeating. Cake that seemed too small, so S sound is repeating. So all the lines are examples of alliteration. Now the fifth and last question of this video. What is the rhyming scheme of the poem? The first option is correct. 4-lined stanzas with A, B, C, B rhyming scheme that I told you, okay, in the rhyming scheme part. So that's all about this video. Thanks for watching this video. Like it and share it with your friends as well, and don't forget to subscribe our channel, press the bell icon to receive further notifications. Thank you.